smoking pipes at the time, or you just got into this?
No, I started out as a cigar smoker, and when we went to graduate school, my wife saw how much cigars cost, or at least how much the cigars I like to cost, and she said, yeah, you're not going to be doing that anymore, because she was in grad school too. So she encouraged me to smoke a pipe, because her grandfather did. She always liked the way it smelled, and theoretically it was cheaper. And then I started doing research and discovered, no, in fact, the pipes that I like are not cheaper at all, so I'll try to make them. And kind of got started there, and made a few pipes on my own. I think I made 6 or 7 pipes on my own, and there's a Pipe Makers Forum is a website online for anybody who's interested in learning how to do it. You can visit that. The guy who started it was starting it up right as I got interested in pipe making, and his name's Tyler. And I had been sending Tyler some questions to help me out, and he encouraged me to, work through this site. So I did that and learned a lot working through the Pipe Makers Forum, and then ended up working with a number of pipe makers in the first few years that really, really helped me out. Who helped me source, helped me meet clients, who taught me little tips and tricks and all that fun stuff. Where previously, I guess, not maybe 5 or 6 years before I started, if you wanted to learn how to make pipes, you were on your own. No one was helping anyone, and it kind of opened up when the internet became involved. Trevor Talbert, American pipe maker. You right there, Chipster?
Yes. Kind of.
We have a dryer if you need it. Trevor started he had a section on his website that taught people how to do it. So that inspired people to learn how to make pipes and encourage people to open up. So I started back then and started out buying 2 blocks of wood and making 2 pipes, and then using the money that I made selling those 2 pipes to buy like 4 blocks of wood, and so on and so forth. But we start out, all the pipes that we're interested in start out like this. Pass it around. This is a briar block. This one is from Tuscany. We work with different mills all around the Mediterranean. It's pretty much the only place that this stuff grows. It's similar to manzanita here, and it's like a cancerous tumor that grows between the root system and the trunk. And these guys go through and find the Erica arborea trees, dig up the burl, toss them on a truck, and the trucks deliver these burls to different briar mills. And the briar mills cut it and cure it and sell it to us. And then we let it sit around for a long time, and then we turn them into pipes. So I've got briar aging. This is actually young stuff here. All my older briars back here. Stuff. I think the earliest stuff I have is maybe 2005 right now. And then I have briar from the 60s that I use on occasion. But yeah, all pipes start out with the briar block, and then you take this vulcanized rubber and you turn these into stems. And that is basically, these are the basic building blocks of a pipe right there. And all the tools here, you actually don't need all this stuff. This just makes it simpler and faster for me to do it. The only thing you really need, in fact, the first 7 or 8 pipes that I ever made, I made entirely on a drill press. I bought a cheap drill press, $28, because I pretended to be a business, and I got it at wholesale pricing, because I couldn't afford the $56 it would have cost retail. And it was the joy of the internet. I invented a business name. I was in school for theology, very ethical choice I made, wasn't it? I got this drill press, and I would drill my holes with it standing up, and then I'd flip it onto its side and use it I'd hook one of these wheels up and use it to sand and other grits of sandpaper, and then I'd use a Dremel and lots of hand sanding, and then I'd take the same drill press and take buffing wheels and chuck them up in the chuck and polish them. And that's how I made at least the first 10 pipes, I think. And then
It took you how long?
a long time.
You still have that original drill press?
No, I finally threw it away. I used it until a couple of years ago, but I do have my first pipe. Here's my second pipe, which is off there, so I'm not going to show it to you. And if this is the good one, you should imagine how bad the bad one is. But that was my first pipe.
That's the first.
That's the first one.
How old is that pipe, Jeff?
2003.
It's interesting.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Well, you know, you captured some of the quality of the briar.
Yeah, I got the
That's
briar from Tim West,
Mm-hmm.
and Tim is a super nice guy, and
I know.
he spent hours on the phone with me, explaining how to do certain things, and was really helpful for the first few pipes that I made. So yeah, you take the as
That's
things
a
went.
collector's piece now.
Yes, it's in my collection, and it will never leave.
2005, so you've been smoking that for 5 years?
2003.
3. Smoking
So it's 8 years old.
The
Yeah.
grain is beautiful on it, really.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
Really not a bad pipe. You never know. First one.
You would tell with the second pipe, it's that bad. Oh, it's terrible.
Your signature's gotten better then.
Yeah.
Thank you. So then, I think after my 9th or 10th pipe, I bought a lathe about this size, similar size to this one, and used that for the first few years, and I learned to hand drill, which if you guys have seen videos on YouTube of people shaping pipes, usually they take a block, put it in the chuck on a lathe, they drill the hole and turn the bowl and rotate it, and do the same with the shank and the holes in there. That's the traditional English-French way of making pipes. The Danish way, a guy named Sixten Iversen, he decided, he looked at blocks of briar, and he saw, let's see if I can find an example in here.
I just put them back.
Where's my water bottle? You can see the grain in that, how it's going at an angle and kind of fans that direction.
Yeah.
Well, if you chuck that into a lathe, you're locked into this orientation. Well, if you need to do a billiard, that means you're going to get straight grain on one side and bird's eye on the other. So what Sixten did is he saw this piece of wood and he said, wow, if I want straight grain all the way around, I bet if I shape it beforehand, I can not only do interesting and different shapes that I couldn't do drilling it on the lathe, but also I could make some make sure the finished product had some really beautiful grain. And that's exactly what he did. So he went to a shaping wheel and he drilled it, and he kind of innovated and found these special drill bits that furniture makers were using for drilling the pegs in chairs. They're called spoon bits, and you have to have them custom made or make them yourself. Brad made these ones. I have some I made, and yeah.
That's Brad Pullman, correct?
Brad Pullman, yes. So you had to make these special drill bits so that you could drill all the holes.
Wow. So it's not something you can buy at a manufacturer?
No. There can't be more than 50 sets of those, maybe 100 sets of those in the world right now. Just because, not because they're that rare. I mean, they'd be impossible to make. It's just there's no demand for them. 100 sets is nothing to a manufacturer. So yeah, we have to either hire people to do it, or you have to kind of figure it out, which I did for the first ones I made. They kind of didn't work so well. But, yeah, so Sixten pioneered that and influenced a lot of people who were in Denmark in the 50s and 60s through to today, and a lot of people who have worked with them. So that's how they did it. And the product you get when you're done is something like this, where you've got your shape, but there are no holes in it. So then you need to drill the holes afterwards. And like I said, the advantage is you can you can have some really, really beautiful grain. Shane, could you go fill this up with my hose on the side of the house? Thank you.
What is the normal size of the chamber?
There's no normal size.
If you did 1,000 pipes, what would be?
Depends who you're making them for. Some people like under 3/4 of an inch. Some people like nothing under 1 inch.
Wow.
I have
Some people
you know,
like
there are
even
customers who
bigger than
like pipes as big as your arm, and you know you can fit a whole tin of tobacco in one bowl. There are guys
Yeah,
who,
it's up to the individual.
yeah,
So, for instance, if you were going to commission him to do a pipe, you could then say, I want the bowl to be 1.5 inches.
bro. You can't.
Okay, 1.5 inches will probably hold 3 ounces or more of tobacco. That's great if you're taking a long trip and you're driving someplace, or you got time to sit around and smoke. The larger the bowl, the longer the smoke.
yeah, sweetie, what's up? Oh, big hug, huh?
Oh yeah. You just gotta find extra hits from
Don't
that.
vomit, okay? So here's a smaller pipe with it's a pretty small hole. That's probably 11/16. And this is a Lars Everson from '69, and that's a pretty big chamber.
Yeah. What makes it get brown spots? Is that a hot spot or is that?
That's a hot spot. Yeah.
We're at the whim of Mother Nature all the time.
Yeah, and the hot spots can be just because the walls were too thin. They can be because someone smoked too hot. Thank you. I've seen pipes that have been sent back, thankfully not to me yet, where I've seen the tenons melted.
Wow.
The guy was smoking so hot he melted the tenon.
Wow.
Yeah, that's hot.
Oh, then he's crazy.
That's
And it
gonna
wasn't a cheap pipe.
fry his tongue, though, isn't it? If you're getting it
I
that
would
hot.
assume that his tongue was pretty well fried
He
already.
has no taste buds.
Leather tongue.
Just heat. That's it.
All right, like my servers hot.